Hello loves, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be breaking down the lunar eclipse full moon in Taurus. It's happening on November 19th. We have quite a bit to cover, so let's get started. We're going to start off with the planetary positions. We're going to break down the aspects. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spell guide of what I think you should be working on, and we're going to look at the cards and the oracle cards as well. So for the planetary positions, the sun will be in Scorpio, the moon will be in Taurus, Mercury will be in Scorpio, Venus will be in Capricorn, Mars will be in Scorpio, Jupiter and Saturn will be in Aquarius, Uranus will be in Taurus in retrograde, Neptune will be in Pisces in retrograde, and Pluto will be in Capricorn. Okay, so it's definitely quite a bit of things going on, so let's talk about it. When it comes to the aspects, we have a sun in opposition to the moon, and we also have a sun in conjunction to Mercury, as well as a sun square Jupiter, sun, and a sun trine Neptune. So there's definitely a lot of things going on when it comes to our ego during this time. When it comes to specifically this particular time period, because it's still going to be Scorpio season, and because the moon will be in Taurus, and Taurus is like more grounded, there is a kind of, and there is a stellium in Scorpio as well. There's going to be like this energy of like water, like an earth a little bit. You're going to be feeling a little bit of that kind of like almost trying to ground, but at the same time having a lot of emotions, having a lot of things come up to the surface. Scorpio season is very, very transformative. It's very deep, it's very dark, it's very broody, it's very a lot of things, y'all. But it is a time for a lot of change and a lot of growth if we actually do the work and let it be so. So with the sun in opposition to the moon, our emotions and our ego are definitely not going to be on the same page. And in part, you see this kind of energy play out with Taurus, because Taurus is very much about pleasure and the self, and making sure that they're, you know, okay and growing and thriving and kind of in the space of, you know, elevation and just goodness, right? But when it comes to the sun in Scorpio is very dark, very broody. It can intentionally get dark and deep and heavy, which might not necessarily feel so good for like the Taurus energy, because Scorpios can take you down to the deepest of abyss. Okay, so it can definitely get down to like, the energy can definitely be a little bit feel heavier, especially on our egos. We might be feeling like we're going through a very deep transformation, and here's the moon trying to make us feel good. Especially Taurus moons are like some of the best, and some like, because the moon is exalted in Taurus, so it's like some of the best kind of feel good energy and vibes, and it's just kind of like, but I'm dying, you know, like it just feels like very, very heavy. So there's definitely a versus of individuality of the ego and the emotional energy happening, while the sun will also be in a conjunction with Mercury, because Mercury is also in Scorpio, and there is this kind of alignment between our communication and our unconscious mind, as well as our ego during this time. So you're going to be able to pass through yourself. You're going to be able to see like your deepest, darkest self. You're going to be able to, at your core, like recognize like where you have been tripping yourself up, where you have been getting in your way, and where others have been doing the same to you as well, or to themselves. You're going to be able to recognize and accept the truth, because Scorpio rules the truth. And when Mercury is in Scorpio, you're taking consciousness, okay? Consciousness and adding the unconsciousness, okay? You're marrying the two. That's why Mercury and Scorpio people are some of the most powerfully intuitive people on this planet, because they're able to take their consciousness and take it to the depths and unlock the truth. And they also happen to be great at mediumship work and talking to the dead as well. This is also a great time to talk and commune with the ancestors and like sort some things out and actually get guidance from the ancestors. And a lot of the readings that I've been doing, y'all, the ancestors been pissed. Like the ancestors is like at some of y'all. I'm just saying, I've been doing a lot of readings for y'all lately, and it's just been like the ancestors is just like, hello. We told you what you needed to work on, what's going on, you know, like, so this is definitely a time to kind of commune with the ancestors as well. And I do recommend doing that in the morning, so that way you can make some time to still feel the pleasure of the moon as well. The sun will be in a square with Jupiter. This is going to make it so there is a little bit of the ego getting in the way of your abundance in a way. And this is the way that you really need to see it, because the square is when the planets are fighting. So your ego is not getting along with Jupiter's energy, and because Jupiter rules abundance, luck, opportunity, and expansion and knowledge, it's kind of like the truth, especially that which you have discovered through this sun in conjunction with Mercury. Your ego might just like be like, but do I have to? But why? But do I have to accept this? But like it just feels a little bit more, rigid there. So just be mindful. I feel like we need to be taking it a little bit easier during this time, but we also need to accept the hard truths that we need to accept as well. The sun will also be in a trine with Neptune, so this is a great time to focus on your spiritual practice and make sure that you are doing the work that you personally need to do in order and have your spirituality support what you need in that moment. So if you know you're going through like a whole entire death process, if you know you're going through an inner transformation, if you know that your ego is accepting some hard truths, then make sure your spell work, your spirituality is supporting that. I feel like this specific moon, this lunar eclipse requires a spiritual bath. It requires a cleansing. It requires sitting in that spiritual bath. It requires just kind of like sitting with the energy. I really highly recommend working with herbs that you find are your favorites during this specific eclipse. Just because Taurus always wants to feel good, and whatever it values is what means the most to it. So for you guys, like during this time, if there's some herbs that just every time you use it or work with it, it just makes you feel like your body, your spirit just brings so much comfort. You're going to want to gravitate that towards your arsenal of like your favorites during this time. Use your favorites to uplift and to ground you during this time, so that way you can still find pleasure in the day. But definitely that sun trine Neptune is going to make it so you do have to navigate this from a place of spirit. This is also a great moon to kind of like purge, release, cry, but also like do some self-care. This is a great time to kind of like, even if you wanted to not cook for that day and you just wanted to just buy yourself food and not have to spend some cash on, other things, this would be a great moon to do that in. Don't overextend yourself if you honestly feel like you can't, or that's just not the place that you're in. Don't overdo it. Just kind of take it easy, take it slow, and just be yourself. Okay, be yourself, but know how to react to what's going on in your life. Know how to give yourself what you need in the moment. Now, the moon will be in an opposition to Mercury. So even though the sun will be in conjunction, the moon will be in opposition. Because our emotional energies are not necessarily going to want to accept some of the mental transformations that we are in, the mental downloads that we're getting during this time. We might be feeling like a little bit like just kind of like fighting back at the energies a little bit, and we are like, it comes off as a risk to do so, to kind of like conserve and not necessarily address things ahead. You can address things and then take care of yourself. You can address things and then make time to take care of yourself and make it like a good space for you as well. The moon will also be in a square with Jupiter, so there is that emotional friction, and I would not, even though like Taurus is a very financial sign, I would not do any money spells during that time. Because even though Taurus literally rules it's the sign that rules money, I wouldn't do it during this time, because having this like moon square Jupiter is a planet of luck and abundance and opportunity. So it's like, it almost feels like you have other things going on to be trying to force yourself to manifest something that you shouldn't be prioritizing right now. Does that make sense? It's almost like there are other things that you need to focus on. There's other things that you need to spiritually address, not the superficial to an extent. Like, you can use the things that you value to make yourself feel better. But right now, I don't think it's the best of best times to just kind of focus in on the financial aspects of it. It's just, I don't think it's the best time. I don't necessarily think it's the best time. If you are going to use or try to do it for money, I would suggest doing it for something digital, like maybe like Bitcoin or like stocks or something digital. Reason being is because Venus is in a trine with Uranus, so like that Venus in Capricorn energy can help with like the technology kind of money kind of thing. So if you have like a side business, if you have like something like one of your 7 streams of income is something that is just like you don't really have to pay attention to, like stocks and stuff like that, you can try to do some, you know, like spell work or set some intentions for maybe things to go up, or maybe some stocks to be split so you have more than them, or whatever it is. That's the way that I would recommend doing kind of money spells during this time, but I just don't think, not with this moon, not with moon square Jupiter. Not with moon square Jupiter. Yeah, I think we should focus on ourselves more than finances during this time. I hope that makes sense. The moon will also be in a trine with Pluto during this time. And this is definitely going to make things a little bit complex. Being because both Taurus is very possessive, but because it rules, you know, it rules the house of value, it rules value, what you possess. But Pluto also rules possession. And so they're definitely having like when the moon is in a trine with Pluto, it can make us a little bit obsessive. So if there's something that you've been hyper focused on lately, pay attention to that, because you might want to take it easy. Okay. You might be feeling a little bit hypercritical, or a little bit, you know, like you're just tunnel vision focused on like whatever that thing is. And if it's a person, if it's like as complex as another person, I would kind of be very mindful about how to navigate the intense emotional energies, because anytime moon is in a trine with Pluto, it can get obsessive, it can get a little bit extreme. Okay, it can get a little bit manipulative, it can get, you know, a little bit controlling. So just be mindful of that when navigating other people. This would be a good time to kind of take some time to yourself. If you know your own nature, and you're gonna be out of pocket or something. I'm just saying. Mercury will also be in a square with Jupiter. This can definitely take things mentally to a little bit to the extreme. You might feel your thoughts going from 0 to 100 very quickly. It might feel a little bit like, you know, you're over exaggerating, or over just thinking, or over like putting emphasis, and you know, it can seem extra dramatic for absolutely no reason. And Tauruses do have that nature of having a little bit of extra drama of a thing, you know, but it's one of those things that can make things a little bit complicated if we're connecting with other people. And because Jupiter's in Aquarius and it's about the collective, be mindful in social media, be mindful people trying to trigger you, be mindful with like, you know, certain friends. Maybe I think this is one of those moves that you might want to stay home and just do you know, a spiritual bath, eat some good food, because Taurus is also real food, and like eating and cooking and stuff like that. Eat some good food, take it a little easy. I don't think this is a moon to kind of like overdo it, if that makes sense. My 2 cents. Mercury will also be in a trine with Neptune. This is definitely going to make it so our minds are going to be very, very, especially if we work through this moon, through this lunar eclipse in a spiritual way, we'll be able to get a lot of breakthroughs spiritually, whether it be through downloads, whether it be through readings, whether it be and this is also a great time for you to do some divination about, you know, what you should be working on for the future. So aside from like spiritual bath, maybe even like some working with the water element, doing some divination would be good as well for this specific moon. Are you starting to see why I wanted to do this self-care workshop like on this lunar eclipse? It's like literally needed. This is literally why I'm having a self-care workshop. By the way, for those who have not gotten tickets, the link will be down below. I wanted to do the self-care workshop because Scorpio season, Libra season have been intense, and I feel like we needed that break. And literally this lunar eclipse is made for self-care. It's literally made for self-care. So I was like, you know what, let me just do it that way. But this is just, it's a really, really good time to focus in on that foundation energy, that like just us, our bodies, taking care of ourselves, our energies, our emotional energies, our mental energies, as well. Mars will also be in a square with Saturn during this time. So there is like that kind of fighting off the karma, fighting off the things that you know are inevitable, because Saturn is very much moving through a lot of karma, and there's a lot of karmic cycles happening to a lot of people, whether it's like having to let go of someone, having to let go of a situation, or having to heal or work through a situation and making things correct or right, or upgrading a situation, because Saturn is also in Aquarius. So Mars squaring your Saturn in this way, it's kind of like, it's like the passion, it's like the fire, it's like the things that have just been under the surface that have been creating a lot of chaos are going head to head with like that karma, and anything that you haven't been addressing is just coming to the surface now. Mars will also be in an opposition to Uranus, and Saturn will be in a square with Uranus as well. Mars in opposition to Uranus is going to make it so we're not trying to take on the upgrade that's happening, any chaos that's happening. We might not be trying to accept it during this time, because Scorpio and, you know, Taurus are both fixed signs. It can make it a lot harder for us to accept certain transformations that we're having, and it's honestly a really big risk. That's actually one of the cards that we got from the Oracle cards. We have the risk card. It's a big risk to not, you know, accept the things that we need to accept during this time, but there is a lot that's happening collectively. There's a lot that we're moving through, energetically speaking. Let's look at the cards. So when it comes to the cards, we have the King of Wands. Okay, it's not Mars energy. We have the Queen of Pentacles. It's not Taurus energy. We have, and that Venus and Capricorn energy, and then we have the Six of Wands. Then we have the Hangman, and we have the Five of Pentacles, okay? And so there is this energy of, we want to succeed. We have these ideas, these opinions, these said things that we want for ourselves, that we have believed for ourselves, that we, you know, feel like they're set in stone for us, but we need to do the work. We need to sit down with ourselves and look at where we have been lacking, where we have been causing a lot of chaos or frustration, or where we have allowed nothing to grow, and where we need to kind of look at and reevaluate so that we can move forward into the next thing. Because as much as we want to succeed, of course, we're going to have that vision for ourselves. It's a risk to not, you know, to just let it continue to sit there without doing anything about it. And right now I feel like for this specific lunar eclipse, we're gonna want a lot. That lust card is gonna be there. This is also a great time to focus on some sex magic, okay? Some sacral magic, okay? But in a way that is just like beneficial to you as well, especially because Scorpio season rules sex, astrologically speaking. So sex magic is something I do recommend, and it is also working with the water element, and spiritually as well. You have maintain hope and rare opportunity, okay? And this is definitely a rare opportunity, because the way that the specific moon is set up is very layered, very complex, but we do have an opportunity to do something about the stagnation that we have been feeling, and to really kind of come out of it in a more positive way, in a way that is actually beneficial for us in the future, so that way we can move forward more grounded, especially now that Venus is in Capricorn, and it will be going into its pre-shadow phase by this time already, so that way we are already setting ourselves up for success for the rest of the year and the season. Okay, so that is the breakdown. I hope that you guys got all the messages that you needed. I will definitely see you loves in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to sign up for the workshop. The link will be down below. If you want to check out the Patreon and become a Patreon member, the link will be down below as well. Or if you want to be a channel member, the join button will be down below next to the subscribe button. I will see you guys in the next video.